Hi, good afternoon, everyone. It's been 2 weeks since I last recorded a video, and I've been just so busy with a lot of stuff, church stuff, and doing some yard work around the house. So, here in America, you learn to do things yourself. So um, I've been helping my husband do some yard work. So anyway, um, you might be wondering why I'm here, and this is my half bathroom downstairs. And the reason why is because I wanted to teach you some bonus stretching techniques. You've learned stretching techniques using this or whatever you have around the house, a dowel, a broomstick, or whatever. And I'm using my oar, my plastic oar. And I'm going to show you one more thing using the plastic oar, and the rest of the exercises, the stretches that I want you to learn, in addition to the stretching exercises you learned last video that I uploaded, it will be using the doorway. Hence, I'm using my bathroom doorway. And so we'll start with shoulder extension, okay? So I forgot to show you one stretch, and this is going back this way. We can do it like this and going back. I don't believe I showed you that exercise, and so just hold on to that position for 30 seconds, and you can do that 3 times. And then you do the other side because some people do have problems with range of motion or stiffness in their shoulder joint bilaterally, or which means both sides are affected. And so we get to the doorway stretches. Okay, so there's several stretches here, but we'll start with the one overhead. Okay, and you can, if you have problems with limitation in range of motion and stiffness, reaching up to the top shelf, just reaching in general. So then you can just try to go as high as you can, slide your arms up. Okay, and then when you get to your highest point, then you're going to step in. Okay, and you just hold on for 30 seconds. And if you can't do 30 seconds, then you can just do 10 seconds to begin with. Okay, so you just do maybe 3 or 5 times. Okay, step in. All right, and that's the overhead shoulder flexion stretch with the doorway. And you can also just do it one-sided. Make sure that you maintain good posture all the time, good posture. Okay, so the next one is the middle. Okay, so basically you're resting your elbow on the doorway. So you just try to go as high as you can. Okay, and do both if you want to, if you need to. And then just step in, okay, with one foot. And you just hold. Now, a lot of people may not be able to do this stretch. When I had my shoulder problem, I couldn't really go that high. Okay, so you just go as high as you can. So if it's just down to here, then you just do that and then you stretch. Okay, and then you can also do one-sided. Okay, make sure you're holding 30 seconds or however long you can tolerate it for, but no more than 30 seconds at a time, and you do it 3 times. Okay, so that's the second stretch. And then down here, okay, just step through the doorway. Okay, and you do that 3 times. Make sure you hold for 30 seconds. Okay, right. That way you can reach back behind you with less difficulty. Some patients can't even reach to the back seat of their car to reach for their purse. So this is one of the stretches that I show them. And of course, it's better if you just don't strain yourself. And if you don't have a front passenger, then just put your purse right next to you on that front passenger seat instead of behind you, so you're not always reaching and straining your muscles, and that way you minimize any future injuries or re-injury. Okay, so then the other stretch is, remember you learned this stretch this way. Okay, so you can also do that with the doorway. Okay, so you keep your arm stuck to your side, and some people who can't quite keep their elbow stuck to their side, you can get a towel, roll it up, okay, put your hand right next to, hand flat on the wall, and then you just kind of turn away from the doorway or the wall. Okay, so you can do that stretch as well. Okay, so now we're done with stretches. Let me teach you the different ways that you can strengthen your shoulder. Okay, so I've already shown you, and now I'm just gonna close this door. So I've shown you how to do the rows, right? And do this. Okay, this is for shoulder extension. Now you can do shoulder adduction, which is basically, let me just lower this so you can see. Okay, so you hold on and then you pull it to your side. Okay, make sure nobody opens the door. Warn your family if they're around when at home and you're doing these exercises. Tell them, I'm doing my exercises. Don't open the door. I'm on the other side. Okay. So then you just pull to your side, to your hip. Okay. And you start out with 10 repetitions. Okay. And as you get stronger, you can make it, um, do it twice a day, 10 repetitions, or you can do it 3 times a day, or you could just do 2 sets or 3 sets, one after another. Okay. All right. And this is called shoulder adduction, adduction. Okay. And then the next one, while you're in this position, you're going to do shoulder internal rotation, and you just pull it in. Okay, make sure you keep your elbow tucked to your side. And once again, you can use your trusty towel roll if you can't keep your elbow tucked to your side and it keeps trying to go away from your side. And you just go this way. Okay. As always, maintain good posture. All right. That's shoulder internal rotation. And then when you are done, you could, if your other shoulder is involved, if both shoulders are weak and you need to strengthen both shoulders, then before you change position, put it in the other hand, and you can do this. Okay. And if you can't keep your elbow tucked in and you keep doing that, okay, you're trying to compensate due to the weakness of your external rotators of the shoulder. Roll and pull it out. Okay. And that's external rotation. Okay. So extension was this way, right? And you can do it one way, one-sided, or you can do it both-sided. So you've learned 4 movements of the shoulder, okay? Extension and adduction, internal rotation, and external rotation. So as you remember from the stretches, we also have flexion and we also have abduction, abduction, okay? So those are the 2 movements that we're going to go over next. And basically, you have to step on it, okay? Kind of like how you stepped on it for your shrugs, you step on it for your shoulder flexion, okay? And you do this, okay? Okay? And you can do it 10 times, okay? All right. And now we go to abduction. And abduction is just basically out to the side, and you should still step on it, and you just bring your arm out. Okay. And if you have any problem with straight out abduction, some people can't quite uh, go all the way out to the side. Like with my left shoulder, I couldn't quite get it out to the side in the beginning when I was still a little bit inflamed. So what you can do is modify it. Instead of straight out, you can do a little bit angled, okay? And this is called scaption, okay? Especially for those people who've had x-rays and they find spurs, like my shoulder has a spur, which is just a bony overgrowth, okay, from the joint, okay, which is one of the signs of degeneration in the joint, okay, and or impingement, okay, so it causes impingement. So you go to scaption, okay, so you learn flexion and abduction and or modified abduction to scaption, okay. Now you can also uh, use free weights. Okay, so I'm going to get my free weights and show you how to do that. Okay, so I have my kettlebell. This is 5 pounds, and there's 2 of them. So if you are able to use 5 pounds, then you use it. But if not, then you can get something lighter, 1 pound can of soup or tomato sauce or a bottle of water, 1 pound is 16 ounces. You can certainly try and start with that, a lighter weight, instead of trying to strengthen right away with heavier weights, which would just cause more pain. And then you're going to get discouraged because then it hurts. So then it doesn't work. But really, you just put too much load on your shoulder and your weak muscles too fast, too soon. Okay. So I can use, for example, I got a can of Lysol spray, so you could do your flexion that way, okay? And your abduction or your scaption, okay? So these are the ones that you can do with the weights, the flexion, the scaption, and abduction. It's hard to do the extension, um, internal rotation, and a deduction with the weights standing up and external rotation. So you have to do those things, those movements, uh, either leaning over or lying down. So let me show you what you can do with the weights in extension direction. Okay, so what you can do is lean over. So I'm just holding on to the not kitchen counter, the sink, okay? And then I'm just bringing it back this way. Okay, just straight back. Okay, so straight back. And then the other one, you can also, if you don't have a band and you want to do the rows, you can do it leaning over as well. So let me just show you by leaning over here, and you can just do this way. Okay, do your rows that way. And the other one again, extension. Okay, all right. Now let me show you. I showed you how to strengthen your external rotators and internal rotators standing up. You could also do it sitting down when you do your internal and external rotation with your arm in abduction. So 90-degree abduction, which would be a progression. Okay. So what you can do, um, so I hooked up the green band again to the door. Okay. And I got a chair. It's an armless chair. And I'm sitting on the side of the chair, and I'm resting my elbow on the back of the chair. And you can rig this. So if you can find a table that's this height, where your elbow is lined up with your shoulder, to put your elbow and your shoulder in a 90-degree angle. So 90 degrees, okay? Like a right angle, shoulder and elbow. And then put your arm in that position. Okay, so then you just pull, okay? And this is external rotation in 90 degrees of abduction, which is a progression. So remember the stretches that I showed? You learn external rotation stretches with your arm tucked or pinned to your side, and then the progression of that stretch is by the doorway with your elbow up like this, lined up with your shoulder. The same way with your strengthening. You start out with strengthening your shoulder with your elbow tucked to your side. And and then as you get stronger, then you can put your elbow out at 90-degree of abduction, and you start doing your strengthening that way. Okay. And then you could also do your 90-degree internal rotation. But this is not the best way. You could um, like tie a knot so it's higher. Okay. And then close the door. Make sure you test it out. Okay. And then you can, might be too high, it needs to be level to the shoulder. Okay. And what you can do is now pull it down. Okay. Okay, make sure you're maintaining 90 degrees. So I'm like watching my shoulder and my elbow. And I'm not going out, straightening my elbow. I am maintaining the angle. Okay. You do that. All right. So you've learned the different ways to strengthen the shoulder. And you've also learned horizontal abduction, which I showed you maybe two videos ago because we were still trying to strengthen the scapulothoracic area. So your shoulder girdle, which is like part of your postural muscles. Okay. So remember that's the one with pulling your pulling your shoulder or your band straight out. Okay. And this way. That's bilateral external rotation, which you can certainly do. You could strengthen bilaterally or both sides at the same time if you're able to. That would save you time. Okay, so those are the things that I wanted you to learn. And hopefully, you've learned something today. And that's it for now. And I will talk to you later, and hopefully you'll be able to do all of these exercises without problems. But if you do, pace yourself. Don't feel like you need to do a lot right away. You need to ease into it. Okay, so if you can't even do 10 repetitions, then do 5. That there's nothing wrong with that. Do 5 repetitions and then do it twice or 3 times a day. That's how we start my patients. That way they're easing into it and they don't feel like they are not progressing as well as they should. So, you know, I tell them it's all right to pace yourself because the muscles will eventually get re-educated, retrained, and you're gradually increasing the bulk of the fibers of the muscles. Okay, so that is it for today, and talk to you later. If you have any questions, email me or post comments down below, and subscribe if you want to be notified right away if I have any new videos uploaded. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.